Hi everyone. In this video I show the Meilisearch settings for the Pro version of Totem. Here I have 3, 7, 48, 0, 1, and I have a little table here, which I'm going to work with preliminary we have already customized by installing the Pro version, or rather switching the version from MIT to Pro. We installed Meilisearch itself and made its pre-configurations. That is, we entered the search base host, we entered the key that we created during the installation, and we entered the name index. When we entered the name index, an index was created, and here in Connect code we can check that the index exists. The index is the search base schema, it's implemented. Historically it's called an index, and we've also entered the start settings. It's done like this, just like localhost. You can right-click and say default settings. And for settings, too, you can right-click and say default settings. They'll be set. Now we need to get the search working, because right now if we type something in here, nothing happens, even though the search is on, because there's nothing in the search database. In order to get it there, in our table for the categories that we want to search, we do what? We add a field and we call it TTM search. Only not with a hyphen, but with an underscore. Just like that, TTM underscore search, mandatory. It should be a data field type, and we can make it hidden. And that's actually the recommended setting. Next, we have to collect some array of data here for each row. Let's go ahead and do that. We turn on the code, and this data array is going to be like this. Now this is what I copied from the instructions, from the documentation. And here's what we need to do. We need to have an index, and this is where we're going to have the data that we're going to search. Title is what will be displayed in the title in the search bar, and that's why it's also searched. And catalog, we will need to enter catalog name because you may have different ones like orders, invoices, payments. You may need to have the difference labeled in the search bar. What are we doing here? We're saying we're creating a row, and the first one we should have is index. The second one we should have is title. The order is really any order. The main thing is to have all three of them present. And the third one is catalog. Catalog. This we do not need. What are we going to write to the index? For example, in the index we will write some value consisting of field 1, with a space field 3. In the title we will write the value of field 3. And now we need to think about the catalog. Here we are looking at what we have here. Let's recalculate. And we have an error because we have not filled in the catalog parameter right here. Let's leave it blank for now. Let's recalculate again. Here we have some data 1, title mono, and the catalog is still empty. Where are the catalogs configured? Right here on the system tables. Here they are, Meilisearch, catalog. We'll add a name, say it's video, and some catalog. This is the name we need right here. This is the technical name. We're going to use it in the TTM underscore search field. And this is the title, it will be shown in the search. Okay. And here we put that the catalog we have will be a video. Once again. Let's refresh and read the lines and see here there's some data stereo. Now we need to add this table in the Meilisearch settings here. The table is called some table here and we'll leave it that way for now. After we've added the table we need to click index table. It says that this task has been added to the search and after a while the table should be indexed. If the table is large, it will take some time because it will be added 1,000 items sequentially. Now we can search. For example, we'll search for mono, and here we have our search bar. Results from some catalog, title, and data. But now I'll click here, and we got like no staff section code error. Why? Because we need to set the code that will be executed when we click on this search bar. And the code is set here. For example, we want this table to be opened, and the pre-filter will be filled automatically. Let's do it. Link to table. Table. This is called some table. We don't need title. Let's fill in the filter, the prefilter. And here in the prefilter we're going to pass the following. This is the prefilter here, it's now linked to field 2. And we need to pass this value to field 2. Watch what I'm doing. I'm saying grid field 2. Because this code right here is going to execute as if it were executing from this table, from this row. So it's like we put the action code on change. Here's the TMSERCH field. So this code will know the value of the field from row by field 2 on the grid. Okay. We don't need the field. And here we're saying target self is in the current window, meaning it's going to open in the window that we called the search in. And we don't need the other parameters here. Rub. Save. Let's try again. Let's look for stereo. Click, and here we have this table. Accordingly, if the user does not have access to this line, he will not see this line in the search result. The next point is buttons. Because there are cases when we need not just to click here, but some additional actions. For example, creating a child or something else that you need. You can do that by customizing these buttons right here. We go right here and add buttons here. How does it work here? We type in the name of the button here, some button, and we write code similar to what we did for the main item. For example, let's just display a placeholder with text, and the text will be the value of field 1. Okay, let's save it. There can be several of these buttons. I'm going to add button 2 now. I'm not going to write any code for it. We're going to close this one. Here we have it showing that we have buttons there. And now we're looking for mono. And here we're going to have, it turns out, actions. We're going to go over there. If we click some button, we'll trigger the code that was referring to that button. Here's basically what we need to know about search. When the index is updated, that is the data in the search. It's updated when a row is added, when it's deleted, and also when this field here changes. So if we had mono here, it became mono 2. Now we will have mono 2 in the search. If for some reason your search base crashed, it works independently of totem. And then there were some changes here and they were not included in the search index. Then you should do the following. In Meilisearch settings, there is such a button indexed, and if we press it, here we need to pass the ID of the table, as well as the ID of the rows that we want to update. Where do we find out the table ID? You go to table triples, and here, find 40, that's some table. So if we want to update some, like row 4 and row 5 here, we say indexed, here's 40/4, 5, index, and this job went to the search database to reindex those rows. There's also the story that you have deleted rows at a time when the search database wasn't working. In this case we can say clear deleted. Right here to the table, it will remove the extra rows. That is, it will first download the entire index, check it against the rows that are in the table, find the extra rows in the index and send a task to the search database to remove those rows from the index. You can also do this manually by clicking delete from index. If you need to re-index the entire table, you click index table and the entire table is sent for re-indexing. If the table is large, it may take a long time. That's all about search. Have a good use of it. Bye bye.